game. Free also has the option, of course, to sack this top right, not devote too much to it, and just take the bottom left and just continue this game in a big, huge macro game. And yeah, this game is actually tactically very, very interesting. It's hard to tell really what either player has to do, just because there's so many options for both of them right now. We see HiyA taking, I think he was even playing a command center at the natural of the top right. So this is just looking more and more like it's just going to end up being a really long macro fest.
Yeah, just with Free taking all those bases across, I think that double base at the lower left hand right there is a little audacious by him, a little bit crazy and zany. HiyA just going to pick up the natural at the upper right hand right away and just going to try to siege that position. Doesn't want to push in a lot of gateways, going to be producing some forces to defend this. So Free going to be fighting for this position tooth and nail, has Arbiter to support as well, has High Templars to storm. So anything that tries to go up that ramp might actually get stasis or stormed right there. Oh, nice stasis on the sign. So before the MP get off, one Arbiter going to go in. Oh, get it. One recall off just before it dies. A lot of Dragoons in here. Science will come off, get an EMP right on top of those Dragoons. Going to force back. Vultures are going to be able to take care of these Dragoons, no problem. EMP Dragoons just fall to almost anything. So this 3 o'clock position going to get easily cleaned up. Well, I think just Free can pretty much throw forces out because he probably is maxed out long ago by now. He can just go for these little attacks just to free up some psi for himself, if nothing else. And HiyA just slowly going to push up to the upper right hand. I think he's going to attempt to take up this upper right hand. Might go for something funky like drop in something, but I don't think he's going to go for that. Don't think he's going to try to go for any sort of drop check. Just stick to whatever he has on the ground and slowly but surely push up in dominant position. Already has some tanks among the gateways. Going to start sieging the turrets to start off. Then you can completely ignore the gateways, just pick off the pylons. But there are still some Zealots and High Templar and Arbiters in the back. Zealots going to try to run in close to these tanks, but even tanks on the low ground might actually pick off some Zealots. He's still going to manage to pick at least some of these tanks on the high ground. Slowly defend. One D-Matrix actually coming off the line as well. But I still think Free doesn't really seem like he's trying to very heartily defend this, because it is a massive tank line that has to take care of then. So I'm not quite sure really how far he's going to try to push this defense, because HiyA seems to be overall controlling a pretty nice portion of the right map, pushing Free back with anything he tries to send in, has a lot of tanks. Even though he gets a little bit stormed, a little damaged here, he keeps up his army count, keeps up his vulture count, pushes everything back that Free tries to send him. And I think if HiyA manages to crush this upper right-hand position, pick up that second base for himself for that position as well, I think he's going to just slowly get into the swing of things, because at that point, both players will be in equal bases, and Free had just thrown, I think, away just a few too many forces for it to be very, economically good for him.
Yeah, he's definitely thrown away a couple of recall forces, although a lot of that has to be said that it's because of HiyA's excellent mine and turret placement that's causing that. It's not necessarily bad play by Free as much as it is great play by HiyA. Really well-placed mines inside of his base, which is really important when you're playing TVP. It's really quite impressive how he's placing his mines. You'll notice a lot of the mines going off, but they're not actually killing his own SCVs somehow. It's actually pretty sweet how it's going on for him. Looks like those High Templars actually got EMP'd, so Free's not going to be able to really engage here. But he has at least gotten the siege tanks off of his top right. He's still got that main running now, and he's had that main running for a pretty long time. He's definitely gotten all of his money worth out of that, I gotta say. Even with all the investment of all those gateways and stuff, he's pretty much made up whatever he invested in that. So that's one thing to say for him, at least keeping that top right alive for as long as he has. And he does have this bottom left going, and we're gonna see carriers. I was actually just about to say that this is gonna end whenever Free decides to get carriers, and whether or not HiyA scouts it out. If HiyA scouts out the carriers within the next minute, 2 minutes before the carriers can really get out, and he'll just be able to steamroll over a Free. If he doesn't notice it, then this is going to become, once again, just one of these crazy, interesting games. We're getting a big recall going off where it's a defensive recall here to get in the middle of this tank line. They're actually going to do a really good job of getting rid of most of this, the front tanks here. And that was actually a really nice play there by Free, able to clear up a lot of his room and push back this force, at least for a little while here, although we see a ton of tanks for HiyA. HiyA has just got to be swimming in money right now to be able to throw that many tanks and still feel comfortable defending the rest of his bases. That is really nice. HiyA is really trying to take half the map here, and he's doing a really good job of getting the second cybernetics core up for free. So he's going to be going double upgrades, probably maybe even getting plasma shields. And as soon as a round of carry comes out, that's 5 carriers, and usually that is the critical number. Once you get 5, you go out. That's really nice for him. And this next is at the top right. It has fallen. Free has lost it, and HiyA should probably be taking that pretty soon. I can't imagine him waiting too long to take it. He's got to be just about maxed out. Both these guys have got to be maxed out. And now it's just a matter of army positioning, where do you engage, and will HiyA discover the carriers? When does he discover the carriers? And if he's too late, how many bases does he lose before he's able to transition into Goliath and really get a counter push going? This is going to be a really interesting game here heading into the later stages here. Nice recall this time by Free, finally getting a nice recall in. That first recall was good, and this was his only. The next two were pretty bad, but this one, it looks like it's going to be pretty successful.
Yeah, just really excited to see this transition to carriers. 5 targets, not all of them pumping at the moment, but it is going to be a pretty nicely upgraded army on the ground. In the air, what am I talking about? Carriers fly, them wet. Oh god, I'm just stupefying myself. I gotta stop casting so late. But anyway, HiyA actually gonna move to low at this low left-hand position and gonna go in and try to get up. I'm not quite sure if he spotted what's going on, but even if he gets a vulture in there, that's gonna be enough for him to spot that position. He really needs to start getting some glides out there. But I feel that even if Free manages to surprise him a little bit with those carriers, catch him a little off guard, I think HiyA is still gonna have enough time to get his glides out there, because they're pretty sure they have Charon boosters already. Pretty sure there's some nice upgrades. HiyA has lost the base at that upper right. 3 carriers are going to come in here to defend. These are 3 carriers, not 5, not quite as large a number as needs them. And of course, almost no interceptors at this point. Already some glides to the lower left. Meanwhile, a defensive recall going to come in. Forces from the back. Some storms coming off. Only a few glides to fight back these carriers, but this very small number of glides. So it seems like it's enough. Already 1 carrier going down. Almost 2 interceptors to fight these guys. So Free's carriers going to get picked off in seconds. Meanwhile, Free did have some very nice defensive recalling at this low left-hand base, but those carriers getting ripped to shreds with absolutely no interceptors to help them out. Some tanks meanwhile going to get picked off the bridge, so actually a lot of HiyA's presence here at the lower left and getting picked off. His entire presence at the upper right-hand position already has gotten completely cleaned up. So at the very least, HiyA knows there are carries in there, and I think it's actually a question now whether HiyA thinks that Free's going to try to continue to... I'm not even sure whether Free can really continue getting those carriers going, because he's lost some bases, he's lost some mining. Don't think he can really keep up any heavy amount of carrier production at this point. He's even going to lose more bases, more mining. You see no more carriers being produced. So I think this failed tech switch, unless... HiyA has lost a lot of mining. I don't think he's mining from anything but the 3 o'clock. Might be some mining at the 6. But just because HiyA has only his standing army right now, Free might still have a chance to get back into this. But losing and getting that tech switch completely foiled could still end up really biting him.
Yeah, that is such an expensive tech that he put down. 5 Stargates, the Fleet Beacon. I think he built 3 or 4 carriers, so all of that combined is going to be a couple thousand minerals and a couple thousand gas, and that is really significant, especially when you're considering that he lost both bases at the top right, lost both bases at the bottom left, and both these guys are pretty much only mining off of the 3/9 and kind of the 12/6. I don't know how much more is left there. So neither of these guys is really mining all that strongly. They've mostly got what they've got on the ground, and that's got to be said that it's a little bit of an advantage HiyA, and HiyA actually is going to be able to pick off all those Stargates. He's going to know that there's no more carriers coming his way, so at least, you know, any more than the couple Stargates that are in Free's main. So he's not going to have to do a huge transition spamming Goliaths. I mean, he'll have to mix them in, of course, but he'll still be able to produce tanks and things, so I don't think he'll be caught completely off guard here. And it looks like Free has lost that 9 o'clock position as well, so it looks like Free's mining maybe a little bit at the 12 o'clock, got the top right maybe up and going again, and that's about it. So he's got his bank, which I gotta think for both these guys is pretty significant at this point. We haven't seen enough big engagements that they've run out of 3 bases worth of resources, so they both should have a pretty solid bank to at least keep going for a while. And will carriers keep coming out for free? I suspect that he's going to use those 2 Stargates in his main base to continue producing carriers just at a slow rate. Now we're going to get a big engagement here on the right side of the map. Nice EMP going down, stopping that High Templar from getting any storms off. And without storms, without carriers, without arbiters, this is just not a good idea for Free. It looks like he's got 4 carriers here. I don't even know if those are all real. They might actually be hallucinations, but can't tell for sure. But just not enough forces for Free. And it looks like HiyA is just looking in such a good position right now. His top right base has only got 3 probes, so Free's not mining essentially, and HiyA just is looking in a dominating position right now.
Yeah, he's also going to be able to pick up the lower left and has that natural lower left already, and going to be able to pick up that main as well. Here he picked up the pylons there, so the buildings waiting are going to be completely worthless. A couple of Stargate inside the main. There's another fleet beacon built there, so I think all those 4 carriers are real. They have got some interceptors out there finally, but they're going to be able to pick up some tanks here and there. But as soon as Goliaths come in, there's a lot of Goliaths mixed in with the tanks for HiyA. As long as he manages to keep them clumped up, and if he gets an EMP off, did he manage to get an EMP off the carriers? I have no idea whether he managed to get an EMP off. Nope, did not manage to get an EMP off on the carriers. But really needs to be able to do some damage here. Actually, mines being planted out by vultures because, you know, mines damage carriers. But
they're gonna die anyway, so plant your mines.
Yeah, but just the carriers slowly getting the interceptor count up, and going to be able to at least engage. But I don't think they're going to be able to engage this amount of Goliaths, especially if HiyA managed to get an EMP off, because one EMP on that entire carrier fleet, because you always see them clumped up.